Hey, what's up? Hey, Mike, no argument here. Trump sucks. Thanks. Um, Thanks for joining, Ryan. Mudhoney. Was that in a band, Mudhoney? Or I'm thinking of something else. Um, I just penned it. Okay, Mudhoney, do you think MAGA is entirely bad or just most parts of it? Well, the thing is, you have to understand if you ever read Orwell, I think it's important to read and learn about propaganda. And you'll see this if you read Orwell, you read like 1984. And that's the problem with a lot of these people who follow authoritarian regimes, concepts. They're not very well educated, they're not well read. So, usually these dictators, authoritarian leaders, they speak in opposites, right? I'll give you a few examples. Like they'll say one thing and do something completely different. And it's so odd how they're like the propaganda brainwashes their followers. Here's an example. When Trump was running for the second time, well, the third time, but for this time that he won again, he kept saying no new wars. No new wars. What did he start? A war. But these people don't see that, the hypocrisy of it, right? So when you say something MAGA, make America great again, it literally does not mean that. It's not making America great again. If anything, it's enriching Trump and his family. So it's really the opposite of that. So a lot of these authoritarian rulers, and look into Orwell, look in the history of propaganda, look into your history. They'll often do the opposite of what they're saying. And it's kind of a technique. It's a psychological technique because, they want to do something that most people will not agree with, but they're going to say the opposite first and get everyone on board. And then everyone's like, oh, he's going to do this. There's going to be no wars. Look, wars are going to be over as soon as we go. And all of a sudden, it's like worse than it's ever been with the whole Middle East is blowing up. So, so when you say is MAGA all bad? I mean, yeah, I think as a cult, which it is technically a cult, it's pretty fucking bad. It brings us back to the 1950s in its viewpoints. There's a lot of misogyny, there's bigotry, there's racism. I don't see any good in that. And on top of it, they consider themselves, Christian. It's not good at all, to be honest with you. I don't see much good in MAGA, to answer your question. Yes, Mudhoney is a band back in the 90s. I think I'd seen them with Aerosmith or something. Or did they open for Aerosmith? Or was one of the band members married to Liv Tyler or something? There was some connection with Aerosmith, I remember, in the 90s. It's like how the Nazis said they would stand with Catholics when they persecuted. Yes, but I mean, anyone with any type of awareness could see what Trump is doing. They might not understand while he's doing it, but he's not the first to do it. But you ever notice how he's constantly doing the opposite of what he says? Like all the time. So he'll say something that sounds great, like make America great again. Is he really making America great again? Or is he just enriching himself? How is America? And then like America great again when the United States owned slaves, like when women had no rights? Like, what do you mean again? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, before the Civil War, does he mean when it was like, when was America great that you have to say again? So, and I said this the last stream. I mean, growing up, I knew there was a lot of dumb motherfuckers in the mainland of America, but I really underestimated how many there really are. A lot of them are uneducated, ignorant, bigots, and they're not fucking right. Obviously, for this guy to win, A lot of dumb motherfuckers voted for him, and they're dumb in many different ways. Now they're ignorant, they're bigots, they're misogynists, they're all these terrible things that like the worst of humanity. But what makes them also bad is they're gullible. Like they believed every fucking thing he said. Yeah, he's going to make my life better. He's not made anyone's. All those farmers lost their farms. All those people lost their health insurance. Everyone who can't afford gas to go on vacation. MAGA, they don't see nuances. You know, it's just very simple, one-dimensional thinking. And Trump knew probably more than anyone. There's a lot of dumb motherfuckers out there. And as the charlatan that he is, he's like, these suckers, they're fucking suckers. They're going to believe everything I say. I have them right. Remember when he said that I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue, they'd still follow me? I mean, that's not a compliment. Do you know what I'm saying? That if you're MAGA and he's saying that, that's not a fucking compliment. He's saying you're a fucking dumb, ignorant asshole, basically, what he's saying in so many words. Yeah, they did a tour with Aerosmith, Nirvana, and Soundgarden. I was at that tour. Yep. I saw Aerosmith pretty much every time they came around, starting in like 1987 or so. Like I saw Perm Vacation tour, and then every tour pretty much after that. You know, they were touring a little bit. Did they even do a tour for Done with Mirrors? I don't think they did. I remember when Done with Mirrors came out. I'm not sure if they even toured Done with Mirrors. You know, they did the Back of the Saddle tour around that time, maybe. I'm mostly mad at Trump for destroying alliances with, I mean, listen, yes, alliances with other countries. And I said that yesterday. I mean, God, you know, we have, you know, one thing, him acting like an asshole, some of us like to travel. You know, I just started traveling later in life. And sometimes I like to go to Europe. Sometimes I like to go to different places. And first impressions count. And I think when many of them look at me, oh, he's a Yankee, he's an American, they kind of, they don't respect us. And it's not because of anything we did. It's because of that asshole Trump. You know, and he's just a selfish prick. And it's insane how much money he's making off of mostly crypto. And now he has this business. Did you see this? I read this yesterday where, you know, what's popular now. And I do it a little bit just for fun. You know, the prediction markets, right? So like he'll just put something on Truth Social. Like we have a deal with Iran, and all of a sudden the markets, you know, change. You know, they go according to what he posts. He's selling for $100,000 the ability for people to be able to know what he's going to post on Truth Social before he does, so it could help them make money in the prediction market. If that's not fucking corruption, I don't know what the fuck is. I mean, that's just the textbook definition of corruption. I mean, as president of the United States, I mean, I remember when Jimmy Carter was president. I mean, Jimmy Carter had to give up his fucking peanut farm to become president because of conflict of interest. He had to give up selling fucking peanuts. And this guy's doing crypto and all these different scams and selling. I mean, it's just, he's whoring out the United States. These vanity projects. I mean, who the fuck wants this shit? And even if you did think it was cool, like, how does it help us? Like, how does the reflection pool and taking over the Kennedy Center and the new ballroom, like, does it make any of our lives any better? No, it doesn't. So, you know, that's why I really do like Mamdani here in New York, because he's doing things that make our lives better. He knows what he believes in. He's not scared to speak what he believes in. And he's making every attempt to make the lives of everyday New Yorkers better. And that's what a public servant should be. Not about enriching themselves and power and division and, xenophobia and bigotry and all that stuff, or making everyone feel like they're superior. You know, it's just, Mamdani is the antithesis of Trump, and he's very well liked here in New York City. And you can see why. Kathy Malk, thanks for the follow. Abdullah Das Saeed, thanks for the follow. Mian Mohammed Abu Bakr, thanks for the follow. They did an international tour, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I mean, Aerosmith always was doing international tours, and Kiss, back in the 70s. Elvis Presley never did an international tour. Do you know that? He only performed in America. He never. But, in the 70s, that was a big thing at the time. I don't think, first of all, I don't think Elvis would have been healthy enough to do an international tour. But the 70s was all about touring, especially with rock and roll. It wasn't really about hit singles. It was about selling platinum albums and playing stadiums. If you think of all these bands, Led Zeppelin and Aerosmith, they were all I don't think Led Zeppelin ever had a hit single. They never released singles. Even Stairway to Heaven was not on the charts, and it's the most played song in radio history. The Focus, and Aerosmith only had 3 moderately hit singles in the 70s. It was just the time when, it was kind of like the Blue Jean Mafia, It was a bunch of, people would just go to see live music at stadiums like rock, and they would buy the complete albums, so they sold millions of albums and they sold out stadiums. But besides that, that was not really, it wasn't single driven, for rock and roll, at least, until the 80s and then MTV. And then people were like, oh, we could really sell these singles using these music videos. And it was really the music video that really, more than anything, and getting sober, I guess, in a way, which really revived Aerosmith's career. It was the music videos. And it started with the Run DMC one. That was a fucking awesome video. I still love watching that. And they had the best music videos. And that's how they really sold a lot of their music and made them popular, and their tours. It was all through that medium. And Aerosmith did it pretty much better than anyone at that time period in the late 80s, early 90s. Every country in Central America cuts ties with the USA and most South American countries. I mean, listen, the United States basically just, raped the fucking Latin America back in the 80s under Reagan. I mean, it's terrible. The terror that we financed in Latin America. I mean, killing Jesuit priests, blowing up schools, churches, all in the name of preventing socialism. Same thing in Afghanistan, with they call them the freedom fighters. The Al-Qaeda was, no one knows them better than our own CIA. And Wahhabism, which is, when you consider suicide bombers and extreme, they call it Islamic or Muslim extreme terrorism, whatever, that all started in Saudi Arabia with Wahhabism. I mean, the hijackers who killed my brother were all from Saudi Arabia. That whole brand of terror started in Saudi Arabia, but now Trump thinks he's a business deal to get Saudi Arabia on board with nuclear energy. And meanwhile, Saudi Arabia makes Iran look like a civil rights paradise. This is the shit you got to deal with, It's hard being someone who thinks. Someone that has critical thinking skills. It's not easy because most of America doesn't. Mudhoney says Elvis was the only really popular in the West, most America and Canada, and weirdly the Cayman Islands. I don't know how he became famous in the Cayman Islands. No, but he was big in the UK. I mean, all those bands from the UK cite Elvis, as well as the I guess you mean the West. Well, Western culture, I guess, right? But a lot of those bands, a lot of it was Elvis, but a lot of them like Little Richard, obviously Chuck Berry, and they were really influenced by the blues artists, like the Delta blues artists, and obviously Robert Johnson and all that stuff. Especially the British Invasion. I mean, not that many British Invasion cite Elvis. I think I think most of them like the blues artists, the R&B artists. But I know all of them like knew some more influence. I'm not saying they weren't, but I see like, a lot of those bands were, influenced by blues, rock and roll. Got the UK, yeah. I mean, it's interesting how the UK took American music, Black American music, basically. That blues music is what evolved to rock and roll. Rock and roll is just the blues chord progression sped up with some feeling to it. That's rock and roll. All those Chuck Berry riffs, they're all blues progressions. So they were just getting these records, and they would listen to these records from America, and they're like, this is different than the folk stuff or whatever they're doing. The Celtic music. They're like they really got into the blues, the American blues from the South, and then it was all these black artists who were like making blues or R&B later on, and that type of generation of kids in England were, I guess, in the 50s when rock and roll was becoming a thing here and blues was still a thing, that all these kids were listening to this stuff in England and plotting their their version of it to bring to our shores. Then their next big genre punk was just rock and roll, fast blues, reggae, Caribbean music, and combined together. You seem like you're somewhat of a someone that knows music history. You see this painting behind me here? Did I ever tell you who created this for me recently? This painting was done by my aunt Jane County. Back in the 70s, she was known as Wayne County. She was one of the pioneers of punk and transgender performance. And my cat, I have one cat now, but I do a Dee Dee who passed in February. Jane County made that painting for me and shipped it to me. But Jane had just a very, very interesting career in music and art and theater. But that's a Jane County painting right there. Thanks for joining, everyone. Thanks for coming on board. Don't forget to give me a follow if you haven't yet. I am streaming every day. And Mudhoney, did you come in from Facebook? Did you find me through Facebook, or did you just go right to Twitch? Because I'm looking at the multi-stream. Yes, that was done by Wayne County. And they're like, yeah, she's my aunt. This painting, let's see if I can show you the signature here. She made it for me recently because, my cat died. And my cat Dee Dee. So look, I'll show you. I don't know if you can see this. It's Jane County. See? I know it's a little to mirror it. See, Jane County. That's a signature. Yeah, she was Wayne County back in the 70s. And we recorded together. She's my Aunt Jane. And yeah, she's amazing. I call her all the time. She just turned 80 last month. Her and she would always have a joint birthday party with her best friend, another friend of mine named Lee Black Childers. They had the same birthday week, and they would always have these big birthday bashes here in New York City. Yeah, I know. She is an amazing artist. We collabed once. We did it about 20 years ago. A little less than 20. It would have been 18 years ago. We did a song, Season of the Bitch. It's on YouTube. I had a band called the Lipstick Killers. It was a New York Dolls tribute band. I got Jane. Me and Jane did the song. We recorded together in the East Village, and we went to this place called Gandhi. And it was me, and it was Angie Bowie was with us, and Lee Childers, and what's her name? There's a few of those interesting people. We went to this Indian restaurant on 6th Street, and Jane, they kissed her ass. They loved Jane, the Indian people there. And she's like, oh, play this demo. We just did this song down the block. And it's like season on the bench, you bitch. And we were both singing on this cut. And this Indian restaurant called Gandhi, it had like 2 different rooms. And I remember they're blasting this punk rock version of Season of the Witch that me and Jane just did. And Lee Childress is like, oh my gosh, I hope there's no one in the other room. Because it was like, but yeah, Jane and I were very close. We had some great times together back in the day. I have lots of stories. Yeah. Salika, how's it going? You're right about MAGAs. When you challenge them to a debate, they back down. I love how you call her. She's my Auntie Jane. That's what she is. She always calls up. You listen to your Auntie Jane. Man, we had some great times together. So much fun. Every time she performed, like Deborah Harry would show up, John Waters, Boy George. Like every time she performed in the city, she'd have all these people come out. I mean, she was a legend in her own right. I mean, the Police opened up for her, Kiss, Twisted Sister. Yeah, she's a very unique person. I don't know anyone like Jane. Oh yeah, Angie came out one night with Gandhi with us. Yep, because Jane had a relationship with Bowie, David. She was the first signee of Main Man, his management company. It was Wayne County, Dana Gillespie, and Mott the Hoople. I have a family member kind of like that, not as cool, but my uncle is Chris Channing. Oh, cool. Wow. Boy George is a piece of shit. Well, when I had met Boy George, it was the Squeeze Box, it was called. Squeeze Box. It was a big drag queen type of rock event they had in Manhattan many years ago. And this night I went, it was absolutely unreal, this event for me. So I arrived with Jane, and it was the headliners were Jane County, Boy George, and B.B. Buell. And the basement it was at Don Hills this year. And the basement of Don Hills club, the only people allowed downstairs were the celebrities and Bob Gruen. So Jane goes, I'll get you down there, honey. Come here. And she took the wristband off her wrist and she taped it on my wrist. So I go downstairs, and as I get to the end of the stairs, who's standing there? But Boy George. And I asked Boy George, because you could smoke in clubs back then. So I'm like, I had a cigarette, and I'm like, oh, can I borrow your lighter? And Boy George goes, I can give you my lighter, but I may not ever get it back, so you better take care of this later. So I remember sitting on the couch in this basement, and Jane comes down, and Bob Gruen's taking pictures of Jane and B.B. Buell, like, posing on the couch. Cherry Vanilla was there. She came down, obviously Lee Childers. And I'm sitting next to Jane on the couch, and who comes walking up to us? It was Johnny Knoxville and Kate Moss. And Johnny Knoxville had a button-up shirt with Budweiser labels all over it. And I'm reading, like, the Budweiser. I memorized this is the famous Budweiser beer. So Kate Moss is just like, Jane, you're so great. I'm such a big fan. That's Kate Moss to Jane County. And Jane has no idea who Kate Moss is. She's like, oh, thank you. She's like, who's that? She goes, it's Kate Moss, a supermodel. And she's like, oh, I thought it was one of the girls. I thought she was a tranny. That's what Jane had no idea what Kate Moss was. So then I go in this other room in the basement, and I'm sitting down, tiny room, tiny, in the basement of this club. And I'm sitting in the room with Elizabeth Jagger, Sean Lennon, and the Strokes. Sean Lennon and Elizabeth Jagger were dating at the time. And literally the Strokes. And I'm just sitting in the room with these fucking people. I mean, it was such an event. This is the type of shit, like I would tag along with Aunt Jane, and it was just awesome. And New York City in the early 2000s, well, not just in New York City, but in general, there was a great garage rock revival. Probably started by the Strokes, but there was this rock, White Stripes, Arctic Monkeys, like all those bands, yeah. Oh yeah, he's a Zionist. I saw that. Boy George. Yeah, he hit on two friends of mine. One from Eileen Shapiro. I don't think so. I wish I was around for that time. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I remember talking to Lee Childers, and I would ask, I go, Lee Childers, what was Max's Kansas City like? And he goes, which time period? He was there in 1967 when it was just a restaurant where he hung out with Andy Warhol. He was there, in the early 70s when all the rockers came, and then later on when they opened up upstairs and the Dolls became the house band. So he's like, which era of Max's? But Lee Childers was great. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He was best friends with Jane. Kentucky guy. He was the manager of. He was the manager of the Ziggy Stardust tour, or photographer, or whatever. He was manager of the Sid Vicious. But Lee told me that when he worked for Andy Warhol as a photographer, Andy would write him like a small check at the end of the week for like $25 or something. And then Lee would go over to the Chelsea Hotel, and there was a guy at the Chelsea would pay him $100 for the $25 check that Andy Warhol gave him because it had Andy Warhol's autograph on it. So he would get the check from Andy for $25 and give it to this guy for $100 because he wanted his autograph. Yeah, I don't know Eileen Shapiro. I'm live on Twitch right now. Come on board. This is Michael Quinn. Kathy Anoli, thanks for the follow. Victoria Taylor, thanks for the follow. Benny James, thanks for the follow. Where is the rock? There's a rock revival happening right now. A lot of really good indie bands. Is it like international? Is it like a local, city, urban? Where is it happening? This rock? Is it like in Williamsburg or Seattle, London? Oh, okay. What are some of the bands that are part of this revival? Excuse me. I should shit while I'm at it. Thanks for joining, everyone. If you haven't been able to get in here, I can only read your comments on Twitch. So go to twitch.tv. This is Michael Quinn. Some of you are watching this video from my Facebook account, and some are watching me from my YouTube channel. But if you want to contribute, come into Twitch. There's a link underneath the screen. It's twitch.tv. This is Michael Quinn. I was at a party a couple of years ago in New York City from Mike Greco. I know Mike Greco very well. I know Mike very well. And I know Michael T very well. And I met Amanda, but I'm not friends with her, but I'm friends with Mike Greco and Michael T. I got Mike Greco a gig like last summer. I've known him for a long time. Sweetheart of a guy, very talented musician, Mike Greco. He's a kid. He's young. I mean, I don't know how old he is now, but when I met him, he was really young. Shay Johnny B, if we visit New York City, what are the chances we will run into you? It depends where you go. I don't really, I don't know. So when are you going to New York City? I don't know where you hang out. I'm around, but I don't really go to bars or clubs anymore. I go to cocktail lounges and events and social gatherings. Yeah, I know his mom. Yeah. Were you at the same party? I don't think I was at that party. No, I wasn't at that party, but I've been to many Michael T parties since the 90s. And I've known Mike Greco since he arrived here. He's friends with my friend, Marian Piccolo. That's who he's friends with. That's how I met Mike Greco. And he so wanted to meet Jane County. When Marianne told my connection to Jane, he said, "Oh, I love Jane County." Yeah, actually, come see my play. I added more dates. So my next performance is September. I'm doing October, November, and then I'm bringing it to Hollywood in December. But if you go to Feltman, worldsfirsthotdog.com, if you come in September, I'll be performing for like a week. And I added Tuesday too. So I remember I just would do like Wednesday to Sunday. So I'm adding a Tuesday. Yeah, Marian's sweet. She's a good friend. She's kind of in the music scene. She used to hang at St. Jerome's. I missed one of your posts. Hold on. Midtown Manhattan, see his play. That's how we went to. It was a costume party. Oh, well, Michael T always does like those type of costume party type things. Just thoughts on bowling karma tribute. I'm glad it's you, dear Marianne. Hopefully soon my band Scroll and Puff. No, I don't know Kobe. Mike paid Kobe to sing at their party. I don't know. Doesn't ring a bell. I'm live on Twitch right now. Come on board. This is Michael Quinn, live on Twitch. If you haven't given me a follow yet. I'm streaming every evening. Even when I go to Pennsylvania this week, Pennsylvania, I'll be streaming from my house in Pennsylvania. So I'm going to keep this going. Those are some of the new rock bands. Okay, so your band is Scrowl and Puff, or is it two different bands, or that's the name of the band? Send me. Do you follow me on IG, Mudhoney? You could send me some links to those bands. This is Michael Quinn on IG. I like to take a look. I'm always interested in like new music and stuff. I'm not a hip hop person. I know Salika is. It's the only genre I'm not into is hip hop. Like every genre of music, from jazz, the bluegrass, the country, to calypso, obviously rock and roll, classical, blues. I just don't like hip hop. And I'm kind of a little turned off by country. I used to like country a lot more, but now I just feel country's kind of too associated with a certain group. So, but some country music's good. It's kind of witty. Oh, okay. Scrowl is my band. Puff is in Wales. Send me a link to your band and stuff. This is Michael Quinn on Instagram, on IG. Give me a follow. I'm live on Twitch right now. This is Michael Quinn. Come on board. I prefer YouTube. I don't even use Spotify. I have like the subscription to like Apple. So all music, I just use Apple on my phone. I think I have a Spotify, but I don't use it. I guess Spotify's good if there's certain bands that are not on Apple, I guess, I don't know. I kind of find most of the music I want on the Apple iTunes. Yeah. But I collect records too. I just started collecting records again a few years ago. So I have one of those record players, one of those old ones. Thanks, pal. Send you the link via IG. They covered Lou Reed's "Walk in the Wild Side." I have a great. Want to hear a great Lou Reed story with Jane County? So Jane was DJing a lot. Place is still there, by the way. Every Sunday night she would DJ. It used to be called Barmacy, and then it became a tiki bar called Otto's Shrunken Head. And Jane was just going on and on about Lou Reed's an asshole. Lou Reed, oh, he's such an asshole. She's like, you know how many times I used to hold his head up when he was puking in the bathroom at Max's when I was DJing? Like, just, he's an asshole. He's an asshole. So one night, Jane calls me up. She goes, they're paying me a lot of money. I'm going to be DJing in Tribeca at this place called the Bubble Lounge, I think it was called. Does that sound right? I think it was the Bubble Lounge. And it was like a champagne, like a fancy champagne bar, like Tribeca, like upscale. They paid her like a fortune to DJ it just on a random Saturday night. And I wonder if the Tribeca Film Festival's going on. There was something going on. There was a lot of buzz in Tribeca at the time. And she was in this whole thing about how much Lou Reed is an asshole. Lou Reed's an asshole. So I'm standing next to her at the DJ booth at this club. And who walks into the Bubble Lounge but Lou Reed and Laurie Anderson? And Lou comes right past me up to Jane at the DJ booth and says, "Hi, Jane. It's so good to see you. It's been a long time. How are you?" All of a sudden, Lou Reed wasn't an asshole anymore. It was the funniest thing. All he had to do is like acknowledge her and say, "Hello, how you been?" It was the funniest thing ever. She just changed her opinion of Lou Reed after all these years. Slammy Sam, what's up, pal? How's your day going? Otto's Shrunken Head, I went back and listened to some bands. My friend, no, I know Frankie Wood. Frankie Wood, yeah. How you doing? Sunday with Frankie Wood. He went to my college. We didn't go at the same time. Frankie Wood. I met Frank at Webster Hall, and we've been friends ever since. Oh, wow. So I probably saw you there. Well, did you ever see Jane? Jane used to DJ there all the time at Otto's Shrunken Head. Maybe not on Frank's night. You know what? She used to do Saturday nights, and I think Frank used to do the Sunday wind down thing. I'm live on Twitch right now. Come on board. This is Michael Quinn streaming live on Twitch. It won't let me send you a message on IG. It says, you got to follow me first. I'll follow you right now. Give me a second. I'll give you a follow. Live on Twitch, this is Michael Quinn. Let me see where you are. Oh, request maybe? No, general. How do I find you on it though? What's your IG? I can't find you right now. Let me see if is it your favorite Jimmy Jones? Is that you? Yes, this week I'm going to Pennsylvania to okay, I'm going to Pennsylvania to Knoebels. It's rated the #1 amusement park in America, higher than Disney. And I go there every year, and I usually rent a cottage inside the park, which is amazing. Adam, it sounds familiar, Adam Leach. I don't know if I know him, but it a little bit rings a bell. I know Robin Leach. Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. Oh, wow. I sat next to Rosario, and my friend Crystal was starstruck, and I was cool as a cucumber. I kept telling her to stop staring. What, at Otto's Shrunken Head? Casper Larson, thanks for the. Are you related to Daniel Larson? To Casper Larson, thanks for the follow. Darren Isaacs, thanks for the follow. Oh, really? Rosario Dawson would go to Otto's? I didn't know that. Have fun. Do roller coasters make you nauseous? You know what? I'm going to tell you something. You know, as I got older and more, I dealt with my anxiety as I got older. As I started to kind of take care of my health, my mental, spiritual, and physical well-being, and lost a lot of weight. I gained a lot of it, but I lost about 51 pounds 2 years ago. I am much better with roller coasters. You know, when I had my business, didn't realize it at the time. I wasn't self-aware, but I was pretty much overweight. I was consuming everything. I was like going to events every night, drinking a lot of beer, eating a lot of food, not in the best shape of my life. And I thought I was going to go and have a heart attack anytime I went on a roller coaster. But now I go to Disney like every 6 weeks. I lost a lot of weight. I always exercise, but it's just, you know, stress and just not eating right, drinking too much beer every night. You know, I don't drink beer anymore, but now I love roller coasters. I mean, I would be freaked out going on like Space Mountain. Now I love Space Mountain. So, yeah, I think I like roller coasters now compared to like 3 years ago when I was just, I think you really have to kind of be in good shape to go on some of these coasters. You know, if you're overweight and you know, it's whiplash, you're moving, you know, I just feel like I'm in really pretty damn good shape right now. So I love the roller coasters. I have to work in the AM, so I have to log off at 10. I'm off on Tuesday. Oh, good for you. Good for you. I'll be on most of the, pretty much, I should be on every evening. When I'm in, you know, I'm going to be streaming live from later in the week from Knoebels, the cottage. I don't have a time for that yet because it depends how late I'm in the park. But I'll let you know. And, tomorrow, I'll probably be streaming late tomorrow, so it's good you're off Tuesday. Because I have to, I have a meeting, I have to go out. It may be a little late, but there's a good chance I may be streaming a little bit later tomorrow, so it's good you're off on Tuesday. I love it. Better for your lifespan, too. Was running the business stressful? Oh, yeah. It was definitely stressful. I'm going to tell you why running my business was stressful. Because I put everything, this was like my chance. When I started Feltman's, I was 40 years old. I gave up a career in teaching. I was working as like a tour guide in Coney Island. I was a single dad. I had a child. So I'm like, this has to work because I have nothing to fall back on at this point. So it was stressful. And especially as it expanded and became a national brand, there was a lot of things going on, man. Like it was stimulating, and there was a lot of, when I wrote my play, you're going to laugh. When I wrote my play, the last thing I wrote was the title. That was I wrote the entire play. I didn't have a title for it yet. You know what the working title for my play was when I was writing it? And it's funny when you watch the play, if you come to see my play, either here in New York or when I bring it to Hollywood in December, the working title for my play when I was writing it was 50 Ways in How to Get Fucked in the Hot Dog Business. That was the title. And then I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work commercially. It may be too avant-garde. So that's when I said, well, what's the play about? Well, it's about Charles Feltman, and it's about him creating the world's first hot dog. So why don't I call it like Feltman, World's First Hot Dog, the play? Sometimes it's better just the title, just telling people exactly what it is. And it was as simple as that. That's how I came up with the title. But yeah, it was stressful. I was also enjoying the ride. So it was a lot of stress, but I was always, I was going places I'd never been before. You know, until I bought the business, I never traveled. So now I'm like going to trade shows. I'm not even traveling like internationally. I'm talking about like across the United States even. So I would go to places I'd never been before, like San Francisco, Los Angeles. I mean, these places I just started to go to like less than 10 years ago. And I would like, this is great. And I'd meet people, go out. And, you know, it was just, it was taking a toll on probably on my health. I was overweight and I was consuming a lot of alcohol and food and just, you know, living kind of like almost like a rock star hot dog existence, you know, in a way. Oh, thanks, man. Oh, cool. Jacket over hoodie, over shirt. Do you have any of your stuff? Have you recorded that you could send me? Oh, what'd you say? That MAGA came out and said he was single. He was chasing me relentlessly. I took a page out of your book, challenged him to a debate on Twitch, and he backed out. Oh, I saw that. You kept tagging me on Instagram. I think I remember that. That was earlier today, right? I read and write music too. Been playing classical music on the piano since I was 8, but never took it seriously. That's really interesting, Salik. I didn't know that about you. Really? You play classical music and piano? You know, I always think my grandmother was, who I really didn't know. She was, as a teenager, she was an amazing musician in Ireland back in the 1920s, a century ago. She got involved with political activities, and she ended up coming here because of her political activities and our family's political activities. But she had a 5 octave voice. She wrote sonatas. She had a baby grand. I don't remember her. I could see her in my. She died when I was like 2.5 or 3 or whatever. And I always thought, you know, because I do enjoy music. I don't think I have a natural talent for music. You know, I could sing someone. I can't say I'm a great singer, polished singer. I just love music. I love writing. I love the creative process of it. I do play some guitar. I'm actually very good at the harmonica. I play the blues harp. But I always thought, like, since I'm older now and I understand music more and stuff, I always thought maybe I would love to take up the piano. But I don't think I'd want to have a big ass piano in my apartment. But I would like it. But I don't know if I have a pretty big apartment, but I don't know if I'd want like a baby grand. I would want it, but I didn't want to have to deal with losing the space. And I'm also looking to write a song for my play for the end. So I'm going to write something for that. I want to add that at the end of the play eventually, and then maybe turn the play into a musical. I love Beethoven and Mozart. Oh, yeah. I just don't like hip hop. I know you like hip hop. I just couldn't. And the thing about hip hop is I came up during that time. Like it should have been the music I liked but I was really into like older music when I was, I mean, I liked some modern music, but I was like, I got into like 70s Aerosmith when I was like 10 in like 1985. I was into like Van Halen. I think because, you know what, I kind of like that type of music, like the sleazy rock and roll, probably because I grew up in a repressive environment, growing up in an Irish Catholic middle class community where you didn't talk about things like that, and you had to be I was very stiff. And then you got like Van Halen, you got Steven Tyler, you got Kiss, you got Poison, Motley, all these bands were talking about like freedom and sex and partying. And I'm like, God, they know the right audience. Just go after like the middle class kids who are like go to Catholic school, go to church every Sunday, and not allowed to like ask any questions. Even can I go to the bathroom? Make it quick. Hurry up. It was just like this kind of freedom from that music. And especially when you're turning, when I was turning like 12, 13 years old, or that testosterone, it was just, wow, like the music, like Aerosmith, even Kiss, Led Zeppelin even, it's just, sex is a big part of that music. And I just found it from that genre of music, that rock and roll. I just didn't find it as much in hip hop. I don't have like a gangster type of mentality. Some kids did. A lot of kids had this like, yo, we're cool, we're the gang, or even that like the marijuana thing I wasn't into, So I wasn't into kind of street music. I just liked rock and roll, and I liked other genres of music. I just didn't like hip hop, and I still don't. I'm live on Twitch right now. Come on board. This is Michael Quinn. You have to come in on Twitch. Only 90s hip hop like TLC, later Whitney Houston. But my favorite of all was Queen. I'm not a big Queen fan. Just not. I know what my tastes are. Not a big Queen fan. I like some of Whitney Houston's songs. I'm not sure if I bought a Whitney Houston record. Probably when I was really young, I'm talking like when I was like 9, before I discovered Aerosmith. I had like Michael Jackson, Madonna. Movie soundtracks were a big deal back then. Like they would write a whole soundtrack for a movie, like with real songs, like the Footloose soundtrack. That was big at the time. I remember we had that tape. Let's Hear It for the Boy. I used to play that at my parents. That summer, I used to play Let's Hear It for the Boy, Denise Williams, right? I used to play that in my parents' dining room in the back. But you know what my favorite summer of music is? What year? Can you guess? It's in the 80s. What I think is just like the most awesome summer of music in the 80s. Which year it was? Can you guess? Queen is okay, but I thought they were overrated. Yeah, me too. They're interesting, Queen. And again, sometimes there's music that, it's good music. They're talented, but it just doesn't resonate with me. Either it reminds me of something I don't like, or I just don't connect with it in a certain way. For me, I always like witty songs, songs that are like, oh, I get that, but also songs with feeling, and songs that are bold and like almost like, for me, like it's like reading a novel or a short story, a song for me, right? It should take me on a roller coaster ride, right? So I'll often, like when I'm listening to a song, it may remind me of someone I don't like, or a certain time in my life, or sometimes the melody. And another thing, I know this may be a hot take, I guess, but I don't like Alicia Keys' music. I just don't like her music. There's something about her music where the structure of it is not pleasing to me in a way. Like there's no reward. Like I love really good melodies. Like one of my favorite melody is Roger McRae's. It's one of the first disco songs, "Rock Your Baby," and John Lennon wishes that he wrote that song. It was written by actually KC and the Sunshine Band. Like that melody with the falsetto and it just goes up and down. It's just smooth. Alicia Keys to me, and I hate that Empire State of Mind, so I can't listen to that fucking song anymore. It's just a forced melody to me, and music should kind of flow. And I don't know. I feel her melodies are just forced. And but like "Rock Your Baby" by George McRae. And George McRae, his falsetto voice was amazing on that. And John Lennon said that he wished he had written that song. So he had the idea of, I guess it was his last hit, "Whatever Gets You to the Night," by John Lennon. and he was. I got to know May Pang too. I was at May Pang's birthday party. I think he was at May Pang at the time, and he was listening to "Rock You Baby." And he's like, "God, this song! I wish I wrote it." And he had the "Rock You Baby," all that stuff, and he had that kind of rhythm in his mind. And he was watching a late night pastor, like one of those televangelists, whatever. And the evangelist says, "Whatever gets you through the night," And he goes, "That's the title." And he kind of took that song and turned it into his last hit. But that song has such a great melody to it. Another good song I like, has one of my favorite melodies, is "I Never Knew Love Like This Before." Stephanie Mills, who I saw on Broadway. You see, it's like a payoff to it. You know what I'm saying? It's catchy, it's smooth, it makes you feel. I don't get that from Alicia Keys. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like her melodies are just flat, stale, Oh, Quinn, have a good night, brother. See you next live. You take care, bro. I'll be live again probably late tonight. I'm bringing everything to the to the Pennsylvania, so I'll be streaming every night. You take care of yourself, pal. Yes, my friend Terry is friends with Nile Rodgers. I love Nile Rodgers. I love him on he's on social media when he does his stuff is great. Nile Rodgers, there's a rhythm and a melody to it. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing better than when you have the rhythm is good and the melody. I don't get that in hip hop. I don't really get that from Alicia Keys. I mean, look at some of the Stones' best songs, right? They have the rhythm, the guitar, and just the melody that flows, So those are the songs. I mean, like the songs I just mentioned, "Rock You Baby," whatever, they just have the rhythm to it, and there's a certain melody on top. And again, I don't get that from certain artists that are popular. Like even Lou Reed, who's very monotone. His songs have a pretty good melody, memorable, and he's always got a kind of a rhythm going to it, So as much as he doesn't have much of a singing voice, but there's a coolness about Lou Reed. It's just kind of like an aloofness to his music. It's very New York, I don't necessarily a fan, but Vernon Reid, that's the guitar player, back at a place called the Bottom Line, which is now a NYU dorm. Every year, it was him and a few other downtown rockers like David Johansen. They would do the Downtown Messiah, so it was like a rock version of Handel's Messiah. And Vernon Reid would perform that every year out the holiday season, along with a few other artists, and I think David Johansen would sing all the songs. Yeah. Nah, I never got into Rage Against. I hate 90s music, by the way. I mean, there's a few good points, but for the most part, I cannot stand 90s music. It was pretty poor. I mean, all I heard, remember, I kind of was an adult by the 90s, just about, I was I was in my 20s in the 90s, college years, whatever. But the 90s music was just, we were flooded with "Oh My Hand." God, if I heard that song one more time, I was going to fucking have pass a hemorrhoid. But the boy bands and all that shit, 90s was pretty rough for music. Not that there wasn't some good points. I mean, it's a long decade, so there was some really good music too. But I think we had a really good run from the 1940s to the 80s. I think music from the 40s to the 80s was spectacular. And then once we hit 1990, it went, I know a lot of you like grunge, and grunge is all right, but it doesn't really do it for me. I'll listen to it, but it's just a lot of that music was just fucking depressing and growling and, I'm not a big fan of the 90s. I think music was great from the 40s all the way up to 1989. But there are certain, and actually most of the music I like from the 90s are bands that been around for a long time and released a new album, I'm a big Aerosmith fan, and there's a lot of debate within the Aerosmith fan community about how their last great album was Draw the Line. But I like both Aerosmiths. I do. I like the sober, kind of poppy, witty MTV Aerosmith, but I also love the 70s one. But that was just not sustainable. Like the shit that came up in the 70s was brilliant, unique. It had feeling to it, but it was all drug induced. And if they kept that up, they'd be dead. They would have died 40 years. Blackland told me to tell my job I have a hemorrhoid issue, so he'd take me to the Hamptons to sing backup. That's funny. Backup vocals. Rain Greenfield, thanks for the follow. Andy Rodriguez, thanks for the follow. Leonard Collins, thanks for the follow. If you're watching on, I'm on Twitch right now. So if you come on Twitch, This Is Michael Quinn. I only read comments out loud on Twitch. So go to twitch.tv. This is Michael Quinn. I'm streaming live. My camera's right up here. Those of you watching from my YouTube channel, Michael Quinn Jag, if you want to contribute to my show here, my streaming show, you have to go to Twitch, my Twitch chat box. That's the only one I can read. So go to twitch.tv. This is Michael Quinn, or there should be a link underneath my camera right now, and you'll be able to come into my Twitch stream. And that goes for those who are watching on my Facebook too. My Facebook, Michael Quinn. I know a lot of you MAGA assholes. Most of the MAGA assholes are on my Facebook. You know, Salika, I've really blown up on Facebook. Is Facebook becoming like a thing again with the Reels? I've blown up on fucking Facebook Reels like crazy. Like even bigger than I ever did on TikTok. And I had a really good following on TikTok years ago. I got banned like 5 times on TikTok. But like I don't know why I started doing the Facebook Reels, but I remember I had a public Michael Quinn public page that I had years ago, and I really didn't use it a lot. And I revisited it about 2 months ago, and I had 1,500 followers at the time. Now every day I'm posting my political reels on Facebook. It is insane the amount of MAGA boomers. It's insane, and my videos are just blowing the fuck up on Facebook. And I went from 1,500. I mean, you could take a look. I'm not lying. Go to Michael Quinn on Facebook. I went from 1,500 2 months ago. I have 17,000 followers now in 2 months on Facebook Reels. You can look at it. It's 17,000. And I just get so many views because there's so many like boomer magas on that. It's insane. So those of you watching on Facebook right now, my Facebook Michael Quinn account, if you want to talk mano to mano, because a lot of you act like you're tough shit, but you ain't fucking shit because you're a MAGA supporter, you're a Trump supporter, so obviously you're a pussy. So if you want to talk to me mano to mano, come into Twitch, because I can't read what you're saying on Facebook. And I'm talking to you right now. I know who you are. I see you. Go to This Is Michael Quinn on Twitch. I only read comments that are posted on my Twitch chat box. Nowhere else I can't see them. So go to This Is Michael Quinn on Twitch. Or if you want to do twitch.tv, This Is Michael Quinn, and I'll give you a shout out and I'll read your comments. But I can't read comments unless they're on my Twitch box. They don't comprehend IG and Threads. I mean, my IG does pretty well too. I do pretty well at the IG, but my public Facebook group is just insane because I think I'm just getting all the MAGA people. You know, they're all on Facebook, right? Because Facebook's like a boomer thing now. So a lot of boomers are MAGA, and they're all these old fucking assholes who are just racist motherfuckers. You know. I always see like there's somewhere in like like the Midwest or the South, and their profile picture is like, they just caught a deer. You could tell MAGA just by looking at the fucking picture, and then they can't even put a fucking forget about a sentence. They don't know the difference, the different versions of their. Instead of like our, they put our. I mean, holy shit, we're such an uneducated nation. It's sad. Oh my God. These people. No wonder why Trump got elected. These people can't even fucking. They don't know the difference between their armpit and their assholes. They can't even walk and chew bubblegum at the same time, these fucking MAGAs. Fuck them. How many bands have you been in? Well, I'd say my first real bands was I was at a New York Dolls tribute band called the Lipstick Killers. I played David, instead of David Johansen, they call me David So Handsome. And that was a lot of fun because we dressed like the Dolls and stuff. We had some pretty good gigs. And then Morrissey got the New York Dolls back together again, and they took away our fan base. And then I had a few blues bands over the years. Pretty recent. I had one about, I guess, 2 years ago. It was a bunch of like NYU students, and we did a gig here in the city. And I kind of like that type of vibe too. But I'm looking to go back to cabaret. I was going to do some cabaret shows, and I got trolled and had to cancel them. But I'm definitely want to go do some cabaret. I have a piano player who plays at the Carlisle, and I like to do like the two of us, like me tell songs and sing songs and do like a little kind of storytelling music type of evening. I think I would like that very much. Yeah. But I also like a good blues band. You know, it's funny when I sing blues, I play harmonica. You know, I like singing blues, and I can't hit notes like my grandmother did. I've taken voice lessons, but I'm not, you know, I'm a baritone, although I could do falsetto too. I could do a falsetto voice, but yeah. But you know what it is? Some of my favorite singers aren't the best singers or technically great, right? So, you know, you sing what you like, but whenever I would play with like my blues band, people are like, God, you sound like Mick Jagger. I said, well, that's what happens when a white guy tries to sing like a black guy. You sound like Mick Jagger. That's what Mick Jagger said. They like, how did you come up with the Rolling Stones like specific sound? And Mick said, we were trying so much to sound like those black artists, and in us not achieving that, we sound like the Rolling Stones. I'm live on Twitch right now. Come on board. This is Michael Quinn. This is Michael Quinn on Twitch. I'm streaming live. Blues. Wow, my son's middle name is Riley, like B.B. King. My son's great-grandfather's last name was King, too. Wow. This is my second band. My first band was very different vibe. It was a hardcore punk band called the Sound Slaves. So what's the difference between this current band and the Sound Slaves? Like, how is the sound different? Those on Facebook right now, come on board. I'm streaming on Twitch. Join the conversation. Graham A. Jones, thanks for the like. Nathan Ha, thanks for the follow. Lizette Lopez, thanks for the follow. Scrowl is kind of slow stoner rock mixed with new age grunge. Okay, so it's more like 90s. It's more probably like early 90s. So I guess you're into grunge. Well, I'm going to tell you a story about when I first heard It Smells Like Teen Spirit. I was, I guess, a sophomore in high school, I believe. And I was in this fine arts committee. We used to have the Battle of the Bands, and I went to an all-boys Catholic school. And it was great because like we'd do these concerts in the auditorium, these rock concerts, and the girls from the girls' school would come. And all the bands at the time, you know, this would have been like 1990, I guess. And the 80s hair band thing was still very much alive at the time, you know. So we were doing covers of like Poison and Motley Crue, and like that hair band thing was still a thing at 1990. It was, you know, it was still residual from the 80s. So there was a band from Sunset Park came on. and it was a Puerto Rican guy was the lead singer. And I never heard of Nirvana, never heard their music, didn't know who they were. So you got all these like bands, these high school bands playing Poison and Warrant and stuff like that, And this band from Sunset Park, they get on stage and they go into Smells Like Teen Spirit, and the whole place went wild. Like girls were moshing, and people like, I was like, what it must have been like when my mom saw the Beatles at Carnegie Hall in February of '64. And I knew at that moment, even though it wasn't Nirvana, the song they played and the way my peers reacted to that song, I said, this is a new genre of music right here. This is significant. And that was the first time I heard Nirvana being played. And it was 1990. And it was a transitional point. So it went from like, all right, 80s hair bands are now going to be a thing of the past. This is what's going to be new. And it's just 1990, right? So I was like a sophomore in high school. And I just remember that moment, that specific moment when I'm like, this is a change happening right now. This is to the Aerosmith and probably the hair bands. Probably because they were more, I don't know, I think they just promoted like sex and, those other bands had a lot of like, teenage angst and things like that. And I guess they were very existential, but I wasn't really in my existential age yet. I was more into like, let me pick up some fucking babes and grab a couple of beers and hang out in the backyard, listen to rock music. That was me at 14, I saw Pearl Jam recently. More smooth vocals. I was 12. That was when MTV was awesome. We didn't get MTV because where I grew up in Southern Brooklyn, because of the fucking Dolan family, we were like the last people in the fucking world to get cable. I didn't have cable until like, I think the late 90s, honestly, to be honest with you. So by the time I got MTV, there were like no music videos anymore. It was around 92. The Battle of the Bands was a real thing. Yeah, in my high school. Yeah. And it was the early 90s. Yeah. I was a sophomore, so I had to be like 90, 91. And I'm a huge fan of Tool. I've seen them live. We did Mushrooms at one concert in Philly. Wow. I would fall asleep with MTV on. I remember cable was a luxury. It was a luxury. Dude, you know what was a luxury? Atari. I remember being a kid, like in the early 80s. And we didn't have any video consoles. We had channel, was it 2, 4, 7, and 11? And I think channel 9 too. Channel 9 was terrible at the time. Does channel 9 even exist anymore? I don't know. But, it's what Joe Franklin was on channel 9. But anyway, I remember my mom taking me to birthday parties or to a relative's home. And I'm like, oh, there it is, it's the joystick. They have an Atari. And I was so, Mom, can you ask if they could set up the Atari? I want to play Atari so much. Oh, I want to play Atari. Like, I was that desperate. And I'm like, God, I love to play that. I love, I was fucking like 9 years old. And then our first video game system we got was called ColecoVision. ColecoVision. And it was literally looked like a phone. Like the wire like this. It looked like a phone. And it wasn't a joystick. It was like a phone. And we had ColecoVision. That was, first game I got was Donkey Kong. And I said, this is amazing. This is better than Atari. It looks very similar to the arcades. And then of course, when Nintendo came out, we got that. And you remember Nintendo came with a robot called Rob. And that thing lasted about an afternoon. It was really stupid. I'm live on Twitch right now. This is Michael Quinn. I'm live on Twitch. Come on board. I'm streaming live on Twitch. So if I can only read comments on Twitch, so go to twitch.tv. This is Michael Quinn. Sandra Bickle, thanks for the follow. Sophie Brinklow, thanks for the follow. Joanna Bacon, thanks for the follow. I really liked being a kid through the 90s. My mom would drop us off at the arcade in the mall, let us play when she shopped. We played Atari so much in 86, we broke the adapter. My mom had to spend a lot of money on adapters. So yeah, I was jealous of family members that had Atari and cable. I didn't have Atari, I didn't have cable. Shit, they have HBO. I remember when Superman the movie, which I had seen at the Kings Plaza shopping mall in December of 1978. I think it was 2 years later, it came on HBO. Yeah, probably 79, 80. I remember going to my uncle's house. He goes, "Oh, sure, the TV guy, HBO in December, Superman the movie is going to be on." I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm going to actually see Superman the movie again." Last time I saw it was in the movie theater. It's just so different when you think of back then how desperate we were for entertainment and how much you had to pay money to get entertainment. Now we just have this that are it's crazy. Even like getting music. You had to wait outside Sam Goody until the album arrived. It was just so much different. And then you had like the tape deck, and you had to like record music from the radio, and you would get like a shitty version of it. It's just crazy how we were starving for just culture and technology, and today we just have everything at our fingertips. When I was growing up, cable was being phased out. That's when Netflix went full swing. I just remember when Netflix was like a subscription, you would just rent the movies, right? Because we used to go to video stores. That was the thing back then too. Used to rent the DVDs. I didn't return some of them, and they didn't charge me. Yes. I'm live on Twitch right now. Come on board. This is Michael Quinn. Oh, wait, I have someone on the multi-screen. What happened? Oh, wait, Twitch. Oh, here we go. So these are the MAGA people that are posting. Braun Smith. Hey, Mikey, you're another fucking got it? I don't know. Change your name to Porky the Fruit. Oh, Juan Enrique Rosario. Hall & Oates, Christopher Cross. No Alicia Keys either. Yeah, Hall & Oates is pretty good. They were kind of like, when I was a kid, they were more like adult contemporary, Christopher Cross and Hall & Oates. So I was kind of young to be into them when they came out. I met Christopher Cross once on Bleecker Street at a place called the Bitter End. He performed, just came in one night, and I'm like, oh my God. He had it going, Christopher Cross, and then MTV killed it. Because he wasn't an MTV. He almost died of COVID, Christopher Cross. Sweet guy. I met him outside of on Bleecker Street after he performed the set at the Bitter End. Yeah. Hall just sued Oates. Yeah, Juan. I don't know about Alicia Keys. The melodies aren't there for me. If Dwight's not there, because I feel like her melodies are forced. When a melody's like, I want a melody, so I'm just going to force it. I like melodies that just come to me. They take me over. They just, I just think her melodies are forced. I'm the last generation that experienced analog and digital. Yes, they overdo it when they sing. I'm live on Twitch right now. I only read comments on Twitch. So you have to come on Twitch. This is Michael Quinn, twitch.tv. John Cecil, thanks for the follow. Tammy Johnson De La Cruz, thanks for the follow, babe. Come on board in Twitch. Press the link underneath the screen. I think many people don't realize that I'm also streaming this through my YouTube channel, which is Michael Quinn Jag. I'm also streaming through my Facebook, which is a public Facebook. I went from 1,500 followers to 17,000 in 2 months. So I know a lot of you are watching right now, but I can't read your comments unless you come in to my Twitch chat box, which is This is Michael Quinn. So Piro might be fired. I'm the first true digital generation, which is a very strange title to have. Yeah, I guess so. But there was something awesome about buying an album at Sam Goody or The Wiz. It's almost like today when you buy a book, you smell it, look at the cover, you read it. There was a certain thing about buying a record back then. It was something special. It wasn't just about listening to the music. It's just you had something you could hold, and you could read the liner notes and see the photos, and the songs were like put in a certain order for a reason, and it was like a work of art. But now you just get any song you want from YouTube or your phone. It's not the same experience. I remember 8-tracks. I had mostly cassettes because I had the cassette player. It's a lot easier, but the cassettes would always break the tape, and then you have to take a pencil and wind the cassette. Oh, fuck, I'm old. And then I had one of those stereos where it was a record player, cassette, and CD. I got that for like Christmas, along with Led Zeppelin's box set. You know the Led Zeppelin box set when they have like the cornfields with the I think it's a cornfield on the cover. It's like Shave the Cornfield. It's one of the box set. One of the box set came out in like early 90s. I had. It was actually pretty good. And the cool thing about that box set, they had this big book that came with it. Like the history of the band and great pictures. So like, that stuff's great. It's not just that big, but there was a stand created for it. Yeah, I do. And I remember also I got around that time, it was the Black Crowes second album, which I thought was really good. You know the one I'm talking about? With Remedy? The first time I'd seen the Black Crowes, I never heard of them. And they were opening for Aerosmith, and they were playing at the Brendan Byrne Arena, which used to be in the Meadowlands. And we went to see Aerosmith. It was during the Pump tours with my brother and a few friends. We get to the parking lot, like, who is this band? Oh, that's Black Crowes. Oh, it must be like a bar band or something. And we're in the parking lot, and we could hear the guitar wailing from the parking lot. Like, these guys sound pretty fucking good. Let's go check them out. And we walked in, they were doing Jealous Again. That whole, wow, these guys are pretty fucking good. I'm glad we got here with enough time to actually catch a few songs. And I became a Black Crowes fan right off the bat. I also saw Skid Row open up for Aerosmith. I had really bad seats for that one. And all I could see in the distance, because I was really high up, was like really long hair spinning around like a fan. They opened up with Big Guns. I remember that. I'm live on Twitch. I can only read comments on Twitch. So come on board. This is Michael Quinn on Twitch. You post a comment on my Twitch, I read it out loud, I give you a shout out. Otherwise, I don't see it. Sorry. Yeah, I saw the Black Crowes when they were nothing. No one knew who they were at the time. It was their first tour. They opened it for Aerosmith. I never heard of them. And I remember I was with my brother when we went. See, back then we didn't really go to the Garden that much for concerts. We go out to Jersey. Because they had Giant Stadium, they had the Brendan Byrne Arena, which was also known as the Meadowlands Arena, and Aerosmith would always play there. They would, I don't know, Aerosmith. I mean, I've seen Aerosmith at the Garden. Don't get me wrong, but I always felt like the summer gigs were more like, well, maybe not. I don't know, but yeah, Black Crowes are great. I saw Skid Row open for Aerosmith. Probably the most amazing night of music. My little brother, God rest his soul, we went for my birthday to the Mercury Lounge. I think this was like June of 2000 to see the Strokes play. And the Strokes were like the hip new band at the time everyone was going to see. And there were two other bands that opened up for the Strokes. And it's going to blow your mind when you find out who these bands are because they were unheard of. No one knew of these bands at the time. So the first band that comes on of the night is the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. Karen O comes out. She does. I'm like, oh my God, she's like I think Danny Fields was there that night. I'm like, she's like a female Iggy Pop, you know? And then during their set, I went to the restroom at the Mercury Lounge. And I remember coming out of the restroom and telling my brother, I'm like, dude, there's some crazy guy. There was this crazy guy at the urinal next to me. He's completely out of his fucking tits. He's dressed like a candy cane. Guess who it was? Jack White. So I saw the White Stripes came out, and they sounded like Led Zeppelin, bro. Like, they sounded like Led Zeppelin. And then the Strokes came out. So I saw the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, the White Stripes, and the Strokes on one bill one evening in New York City. And I didn't know who the White Stripes or the Yeah Yeah Yeahs were because they weren't really known yet. I saw Rammstein at the Meadowlands Arena. Okay. Man, you were so lucky. I never got into Marilyn Manson or any of that stuff. White Stripes are good. I love how he's so outspoken. I saw Arcade Fire at the Garden many years ago. They're not so hot now. First time I saw, and I don't like them at all, actually. Because then the Strokes were playing, for some reason they played the Felt Forum. Which people forget about. There's a small theater in Madison Square Garden. People forget about that. It was originally called the Felt Forum. And who opened for them? Are they from Vegas, that band? I really don't like them either, but you know the song Sex is on Fire? What band is that? I saw them. They were unknown. They opened up for the Strokes at the Felt Forum. Hey, Merlin Herlin. Thanks for joining. Make sure you give me a follow. Thanks for joining, Merlin Herlin. Make sure you, Merlin, give me a press the follow button here on Twitch, please. Kings of Leon, yeah. I kind of liked them that night, but then I didn't like their hit songs at all. I don't know. My tastes, I know what I like in music. Same way I know what I like in food. I'm very particular in what I like in music. And I have a very open mind with music, believe me. I like so many different genres of music. But there's certain songs I just find repulsive. You did. Thanks, Merlin. Thanks. What have you been up to, man? What did you do today? I'm live on Twitch right now, so if you want me to read your comments out loud, I can only do it on Twitch. So you have to go to twitch.tv. This is Michael Quinn. If you post a comment on my Twitch box, I will give you a shout out and I will read your comment out loud. Otherwise, I can't see your comments. Sorry. You have to go on Twitch. This is Michael Quinn is my handle on Twitch. A lot of those bands came out around that time. There was a band called Airborne Toxic. I never heard of them. A lot of one-hit wonders. Well, you know, what's interesting, we came out of the shittiest decade of music, which was the 90s. But then the early 2000s, there was the garage rock, the rock revival was spectacular. You know, so you went from a really shitty decade. And again, there was some gems. There was some good moments in the 90s. I will admit it. But going from 1940 to 1989, like you go with the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s had phenomenal music those decades, like all over, where it really went down in the 90s. You know, Hootie and the Blowfish, and the boy bands, and Bop, and I mean, there was some really shitty, a lot of dead wood in the 90s. But, the early 2000s, that rock revival was phenomenal. The Stooges got back together. The New York Dolls got back together, I didn't do much today. I just played some FIFA since I'm on summer break, college and all. Oh, nice. When you go back to college, you go back probably in 2 weeks. Benji is sitting next to me, giving me the "mom, it's time for bed" look. Uh-oh. Well, you could watch from bed, right? I've read stories to you. I like Blur and Oasis. Not a big Oasis guy. I had such a huge crush on Damon Albarn. I've met the Gallagher brothers many times. They're nice guys, brothers. Just about 2 weeks. I was going to say, yeah, hoping to extend it as long as possible. That's the way it is, man. I don't mind the end of the summer anymore because I just keep summer going, I just don't let it go, I travel somewhere where it's sunny. So I don't have the fear of the fall as I did when I was a kid or when I was a teacher too, because I had to go back to work. So I don't have that stress anymore. So I saw someone jump off the Brooklyn Bridge today. Is that wild? We were driving back we were going to get something to eat. We were at the Met Museum, and my daughter noticed it. She goes, "Oh, look, there's a guy on top of the Brooklyn Bridge." Whoa! So I took out my camera. And then all of a sudden, like, what the hell is going on? Is this like some kind of club? Are they promoting Spider-Man? And I saw a whole bunch of people climbing up there. I'm like, why are these people going up there towards him? And I'm like, and I got a lot of it on video. And then my daughter's like, "Look, he jumped. And he jumped and committed suicide." I don't think he could say that. He unalived himself. And I'm like, I don't see it on the news. And then someone posted it. Yeah. And those people going up were actually police officers trying to get him to come down. And he just jumped off the Brooklyn Bridge, and we saw it. He was naked, too. He was buck naked. He looked like a Uber Eats delivery guy. Because he had the Uber Eats backpack on, where you keep the food. He had that on, and then he just stripped naked, and he jumped off the Brooklyn Bridge. I was like, wow. I felt bad for my daughter. She had to see that too, I kind of saw it at the corner of my eye more, but she kind of was looking directly at him when he did it. She's like, "Oh my God, he just jumped." And I'm like, "Is there a net under there? Does he have a parachute?" She goes, "He jumped with his bag." I'm live on Twitch right now. Come on board. This is Michael Quinn. Holy shit. Has anyone come here yet trying to argue for Trump? I can't believe how much MAGA is just a bunch of fucking pussies. They are such a bunch of pussies. I'm putting myself out there. I'm making the videos. I stand for what I believe in. I believe in fairness, equality, therefore bigotry and hatred, and they just have no balls. They don't come on my Twitch at all. I tell them, if you want to argue with me, because first of all, they don't have a good argument. Their argument is like, I'll make a really good argument, and they'll be like, "You're a soy boy," or, you don't know the difference between a man and a woman. What the fuck does that have to do with this genocide or Trump bombing Iran for no reason? Or, you have a weak argument when you attack someone's looks or who they are instead of focusing on, because they can't focus. They have no defense against this fucking pedophile. And he is a pedophile. He's an orange tangerine tyrant fucking prick. And I've known the Trump family for many years. His father, Fred, was my landlord in Brooklyn back in the 1970s. They are just totally the fucking shit of the earth. And you should be fucking ashamed. If you voted for Trump, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself. Ashamed. He's a complete fucking piece of shit. So I'm live on Twitch right now. If you want to comment, I can only see comments on Twitch. So go to twitch.tv. This is Michael Quinn. Hit the follow button. Tom Zubinitis, thanks for the follow. Bill Courtney, thanks for the like. Michelle Maxner, thanks for the follow. Yeah, I know. You invited someone today and they backed down to come into my Twitch and defend Donald Trump because there's nothing to defend. Fucking rapist pedo. And he was trolling me, you said, relentlessly on Instagram. And I said, come debate me on Twitch, and said no after all the bullshit he talked for. Yeah, they're all talk, the MAGA, man. They're all talk. They're all talk. I tagged Mike on it and he refused. I saw that. Merlin said, speaking of Iran, I'm experiencing direct results of the horrendous foreign policy. Are you talking about gas prices? Is that what you're referring to? Sitting here in Kuwait, I hear missiles and drones a few days per week. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be there. I feel bad for you in Kuwait. Ugh. I'm live on Twitch right now. This is Michael Quinn. So come to This is Michael Quinn on Twitch. I'm streaming live on Twitch right now. I love how they always say that, like, oh, you're a tough guy. You probably live with your mom. That's another thing they say. Yeah, this looks like my parents' basement. But a fucking a landmark high-rise in the nearly top floor. I have the whole view of New York City from up here. But yeah, I live in my mom's basement. Stupid fuckers. And they live in a fucking trailer home. Farmers markets are making a ton of money. People are not buying veggies from supermarkets. My regular farmers market was packed today because of that parasite. Oh yeah, and all women, and all liberal women are trans. I know. Like Caitlin Collins. How awesome is Caitlin Collins, by the way? And she's a beautiful woman. She's smart. She busts Trump's balls because anytime she calls him out on anything, he's just like, why don't you smile more? Why don't you be more of a misogynist, rapist, fucking pedo? That's what I would say to him. I wouldn't give a fuck, man. I met him before. I would say anything to that motherfucker's face. He's not a tough guy, Trump. He's a fucking pussy. His father was a dick, too. Fred was my landlord in the 70s. Fuck Trump. He's a fucking con artist. Fucking charlatan. Fucking tangerine tyrant. He's the worst. He shits in his fucking diapers all day. I swear, Donald Trump makes Joe Biden look like Abraham Lincoln. She's sophisticated and well-spoken. She is. I love Caitlin Collins. And I think she came from like a conservative family, right? But I think she's maturing and becoming more liberal and more rational as she got older, I think. I kind of get that vibe that she's kind of like, now that she's at this level, she sees how shit goes on. She's a little more leftist in her thinking. You know? I just kind of got that vibe. She grew up in a conservative family, but when it's like right in front of her, all the fucking conservative bullshit and all the lies and all the shit, she's like, no, she's a beautiful woman. She's nice. She looks nice and smart. Yeah. The best thing to have come from MAGA that is just utterly humiliating for them is all of the cuck shit they always bring up. Yeah, I know. That's all they say all the time. They are MAGA cucks, snake oil salesmen. Yes, he makes Richard Nixon look good. Well, at least Richard Nixon was smart. Me and my brother used to see Richard Nixon. We met Richard Nixon back in the 80s at the Knicks game. We used to go to Knicks games at the Garden because he lived in New Jersey at the time. I don't know if you know that. But we used to see him all the time at the Knicks game, Richard Nixon. But at least the guy was fucking brilliant. You know, these politicians today, like Ronald Reagan, like that was the first time I was like, wow, you don't have to be smart to be president. a lot of them are fucking morons. It's crazy. But at least Nixon was intelligent. Like, there was a time when you had to have, like, just be smart to be the president. Like, at least, I think Clinton was the only Rhodes Scholar, but I mean, you had to have some kind of academic, scholarship. Not scholarship meaning free, but like some kind of academic way of thinking, or some kind of, really smart skills. And I don't see that with Trump. I mean, I remember with George Bush II, he was, remember he's called the internets? Yes, he makes it okay. Durbanite, thanks for joining. Durbanite just said, make some friends, bud. Oh, I have a lot of friends. Tell Durbanite all the friends I have right here. I guess he's a MAGA. There he goes. Again, that's what they do. They can't defend Trump. They're going to say something. You have no friends. You put hair dye in your hair. You look like EJ Garland. You're a cuck. You don't know the difference between a man and a woman. You're a soy boy. Like, this is their answers. This is how they defend Trump. I bring the fucking receipts to the table. You people are so fucking stupid. You're like paralyzed from the neck up. No wonder why he's president. There's so many dumb motherfuckers out there. That informal requirement of being smart to become president, I would argue, ended with JFK, not because he was dumb, but because he oversaw the rise of TV politics. Hopefully more friends than you have viewers, LOL. LOL, we know each other in real life. We're not just internet friends. Don't forget to give me a follow, Durbanite. Durbanite 7. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if it ended with JFK. I'm live on Twitch right now. If you want to post a comment, I can only read it on Twitch. So you have to go to twitch.tv. This is Michael Quinn. And I read every comment in my Twitch chat box. I'll give you a shout out and read your comments out loud. I also have TTS set up. And I also have a handful of subs. And I guess a few months back, I made affiliate status. So I'm just started streaming, and I absolutely fucking love it. And I love abusing MAGA. JFK was a good president. I believe the Zionists eliminated him because he was onto their bullshit. I don't know about that. I don't believe that shit. One thing about me, I don't believe conspiracy theories. I don't, because I like to see evidence. I do not believe, and I think people who believe conspiracy theories are not always the smartest people. And Trump knows that. I kind of like to see evidence, yeah. I see you in Disney Day Drinkers too. Why so desperate for attention? Kind of sad, bro. Oh, there is evidence. I don't know. I love the Day Drinkers Club, man. It's a lot of fun. I love going to Disney, man. I don't know. Maybe you can't afford going as much as I do, but I enjoy it. I have the, why don't you make a donation, babe? Durbanite. Kimel Sumter, thanks for the follow. Alicia Holdner, thanks for the follow. Dory Caceres, thanks for the follow. Buddy, you live in a box. Yeah, I live in your mom's box. Where JFK was assassinated. Well, what does that have to do with Zionists? I'm live on Twitch right now. I can't read your comments unless you post it on Twitch. You post it on Twitch, I'll read it out loud. Almost funny. I appreciate it. LOL. Jimmy and I live in a box. I don't have much going on in my life, or I literally live in a box, because this place is not a box where I live right now. It's pretty fucking big. So, I don't know. I've been there too. I went to Daily Plaza. I went to the museum. I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think Lee Harvey Oswald killed Jack Kennedy, but with because also remember he shot the police officer too, and I don't think it was a conspiracy. I don't know, because everything is a conspiracy. I mean, even like Lincoln, they said, "Oh, that was a conspiracy too." There's always going to be people. I don't believe in some of this shit. Like these conspiracy theories and all this crazy shit. Terry Porter, thanks for the follow. Sandy Moore Dennison, thanks for the follow. The positions where the bullets came from have been studied. It was an inside job. CIA responsible for JFK assassination. Agent says in release files. Published March 19th, 2025 at 10:36 a.m. EDT. Updated for March 19, 2025 at 3:07 p.m. Turbanite says, this guy believes whatever the history books tell him. You just attacked attached conspiracy people, bro. Grow a brain. Well, I actually read books, so that's good, and I read history books. I read a lot of history books, man. I got The Power Broker right there. I love reading history books. So you're correct, yeah. Yeah, I'm live on Twitch. Come on board. This is Michael Quinn. Those who are watching my stream from my YouTube channel, Michael Quinn Jag, and those who are watching from my Facebook public profile, Michael Quinn, I can only read your comments if you post them on Twitch. So there's a link. I'm talking to my followers on my YouTube channel and my Facebook. There's a link underneath the live here. Will take you into my Twitch, and then you post on my Twitch chat box. Then I could read your comments out loud and give you a shout out. That's the deal. Robert Maxwell's companies did have a major role in U.S. school textbook market. I don't know. I just don't see any evidence. I just don't. I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I still believe the earth is round. Andrew Tillett, thanks for the follow. Ghislaine's father company published our books. They're able to manipulate what was printed. I believe the earth is round too. I'm just kidding. I'm not, But we need to be open at this point. I am open, but unless I see evidence for something, I'm not going to jump on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to jump to conclusions so I'm always open, but I'm open to evidence, not just kind of coming up with something that's most likely didn't happen. I think there's too much of that with the internet, these conspiracy theories. I mean, Trump lies every other fucking word. That motherfucker can't tell the truth. The only time Trump ever told the truth is when he said that smart people don't like me. The only time he's ever told the truth in his life. An intelligence agent who performed special assignments for the CIA claimed that the agency was responsible for the death of President John F. Kennedy. But where did you find this? Send me the link so I can read it. Was it from a book or? You know these companies, those as a teacher, they printed our college textbooks and the Maxwell. Yeah, I know Mac. Yeah, bought Macmillan for about $2.6 billion in 1988. Wow, making it the third largest U.S. textbook publisher at the time. Macmillan's brands like Genco were widely adopted in schools. In 1989, Maxwell formed a joint venture with McGraw-Hill to create Macmillan McGraw-Hill School Publishing Company, which became the second largest textbook publisher in the United States. So, who is the? Don't send it me here. Send the link on the IG to me. All connected to Epstein. Who is the first textbook publisher in the United States? Number one, rather. Hey, I'm live on Twitch right now. Those MAGA motherfuckers who are watching on my Facebook, you still have no balls. You haven't challenged me yet. I think you're fucking a bunch of losers, and I have no respect for you. I think you're just fucking full of shit. And you worship a fucking orange pedophile, rapist, con artist, felon. And that says a lot about your character, that you're a bunch of fucking assholes. So I need you to come on board to my Twitch, and you could comment anything you want, and I will read it out loud, and I'll give you a MAGA shout out because you're a piece of shit. So go to twitch.tv. This is Michael Quinn, and you don't have enough balls to challenge me because all you know is like soy boy. You don't know the difference between a man and a woman. You know, like you have no argument. The guy's a fucking asshole, and so are you. So come into my Twitch, comment, and I'll read it out loud. New England Primer, Copilot search branding like New England Primer, the first textbook publisher in the U.S. was associated with the New England Primer, which was published in 1690. That was a while ago. Oh, the cat's food. Eat your food. The textbook was the first printed textbook used in schools in the United States. It was used until the 1930s. I got you. Well, Salik, I know you have a busy work day tomorrow. I know you're off Tuesday. And tomorrow I'll probably do a little bit of a later stream because I have something I have to go to in the evening, a meeting. And I will be back on tomorrow night streaming, which is good that it's a little bit later because you're off from work on Tuesday, as you just told me. Giovanni, give me a follow on Twitch, man. I'm streaming live on Twitch. This is Michael Quinn. I stream every night on Twitch. It's twitch.tv. This is Michael Quinn. That's my my handle. This is Michael Quinn on Twitch. Give me hit the follow button. Someone just said to me, go live in Iran or Iran. You shouldn't be here. Why would I want to live in Iran and be a victim of U.S. foreign policy? That makes no sense. No thanks. Don't forget to give me a follow on Twitch. This is Michael Quinn, is my my handle on Twitch. Hi, yes. So I'll be back on streaming tomorrow night. I am assuming it's going to be a little bit later than tonight. But like I said before, you're off Tuesday, so that should work for you. And everyone else, I will be back on. I stream every night, by the way, unless I'm in Walt Disney World. But I'm streaming every night, and I'm going to Knoebels, and I'll be bringing the streaming equipment to the cottage I'm staying at in Pennsylvania. So I'll be streaming from the cottage, which will be a lot of fun. And so if you haven't yet joined my stream, I read out every comment on my Twitch stream. And the only comments I read are on Twitch. I don't read them anywhere else. So you have to go to twitch.tv. This is Michael Quinn. And I'll read your comment. I have the TTS set up. I'm affiliate status on Twitch. I made that a few months back. And I also have a handful of subs, which is kind of cool. Getting you the link to read. I sent it. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Awesome. I'm going to Disney next month. This month. I'm going to Disney end of the month. So going August. Yeah, I got a few Disney trips. I'll send you a message. I don't like to announce what days I'm going and when, but I'll send you a link. I'll send you a message, let you know when I'll be in Ellisburg, Pennsylvania. But give me a follow on Twitch if you haven't yet. This is Michael Quinn. I stream every evening on Twitch. Hit the follow button. That would be a Jag move. You did go down a rabbit hole with the whole Epstein thing. I see that. Well, anyway, I'm going to call it an evening. We did a good 2 hours streaming. And I'll see you all tomorrow night. I'm going to be streaming again every single night on Twitch only. This is Michael Quinn. That's my handle on Twitch. This is Michael Quinn. Can you remember that? And you people on Facebook and you pussies who are MAGA, you MAGA boomers on my Facebook, you don't have the fucking balls to come onto my Twitch and say something. It just shows how much of a fucking pussy you are. So hopefully you get some fucking balls one of these days, you MAGA fucking asshole. There are cases I pulled up. All right. So have a good night, everyone. Sleep well. I love you, babes. And I'll be back on Twitch tomorrow night streaming live at This Is Michael Quinn. And we're going to have a fucking ball.